Hi, you guys. Okay, The Handmaid's Tale, Season 4, Episode 4. Okay, picking up where we left off, Janine and June are on the run. And now they're taking each other cuffs off. And Janine, she is having a nervous breakdown. She want to go back. She want to check and see if they survived. June says to Janine, Janine, they are dead, sis. Dead. June tells Janine that they're going to follow the railroad tracks and they will be okay. Everything is going to be fine. And that kind of calmed Janine down. Poor Janine. It's just so sad. It's now nightfall and June is trying to figure out which train is headed west. June is eavesdropping and she finds a train that's headed to Chicago. So she said, that's the one. And Janine is like, the one with the soldiers on it? Bitch, I know you lying. Tell me one good reason why we would get on a train that's headed to the front lines of a war. He says to Janine, well, they're going to Chicago and Chicago is still Chicago. And the people of Chi-Town is not giving up. Janine is still panicking and she's like, we can get blown up. People get blown up in wars. And June assures her, look, we're going to be fine. I'm going to take care of you. Nothing is going to happen. June takes on too many burdens. I do believe that all the women should stick together, but June feels like she has to be everyone's mother and carry everyone's burden. Now, all I'm saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. June has to learn she simply cannot do it all. June doesn't know what's down in Chicago for sure. And she's, promising Janine that everything will be okay. You're doing that Aunt Lydia shit. Okay, so June finds them a cart to hop on and take the ride off to Chicago. And she jumps in the tank, and it's a tank of milk. So she tells Janine to jump in, and I guess the milk is about 4 feet high in this tank. And Janine, she said, it's freezing. Now, when a train takes off, the shaking from the train causes a wave-like effect. And it's violently splashing in their faces. Janine is me, because I am like that. If water splashing all in my face, I'm going to panic. Janine is panicking. And June, she finds a drain. And she drains the milk out. My girls is on the Freedom Train. You just couldn't go back to that damn Gilead place. I couldn't. Oh my goodness. And them red dresses. I got so sick and tired of it. I'd rather see June on the run. Oh my goodness. What are they going to do to Aunt Lydia? She lost the girls again. She didn't lose them, but on her watch, these girls got away. Maura is over Rita's house, chopping it up, having a meal. Maura informs Rita that she had no luck in finding her sister and her nephew. She tells Maura not to give up because a lot of Catholics, they want an alias name when everything popped off with Gilead. She tells her to be hopeful. She also tells her that Serena wanted to see her. Rita's like, why? I know that she already know that I done told it all. I told them everything. She's probably furious. Maura said, well, shit, let her be furious. She's where she belongs, in a jail. Rita said, man, I don't know. And Maura said, well, you can go and speak your piece. Let her know how you really feel. I know a lot of women that would love to do that. Or you could just let her rot to death. Ultimately, Rita goes down to see Serena ass. And Serena, as soon as she sees it, she said, Rita, praise be. Serena said, I'm sure you're wondering why I asked you to come here. And Rita said, well, yes, I am wondering why. Serena puts her hands over her stomach and she said, I'm pregnant. And they're both overjoyed. Rita says, praise be. I didn't know it was possible. Serena said, yeah, with Gilead, good water and clean air and God's grace, here we are. Serena tells Rita that it's a boy and she's gloating over little boys chasing frogs and scraped knees. And Rita said, well, I bet the commander is overjoyed. So Serena said, well, actually, he doesn't know. And I don't plan on telling him. It's a reason that God revealed this to me while we're separated. Now you're here to help me care for this little boy. Rita is like overjoyed because it's a boy. She's like, it's a boy? It's a boy? Now Serena lays the manipulation on thick. She says to Rita, I miss you. My lovely Rita, you were always such a blessing. Rita Rita goes to give the sonogram picture back to Serena, and Serena said, no, you keep it to look at it whenever you want. Now, bitch, why the fuck would I want to look at your baby? The nerve, the gall. Now, later on that day, Mike comes over to Rita's apartment with paperwork in hand that's from Serena's lawyer to give to Rita to go over in court. Now, what this paperwork contains is everything that happened, and they need Rita to corroborate Serena's story that everything that happened to June regarding June's pregnancy was the result of extreme duress inflicted upon her by her husband. Now I think Rita understand, okay, this bitch is on her manipulation shit. Rita asks Mike, so she need me to testify against the commander. He tells her, well, yes, she felt as though y'all shared a strong bond when you came to see her the other day. Rita says to Mike, did you know when I was in Gilead that I was registered to the Waterfords? I had a registration number and everything, just like my old Nissan Altima. I think at this moment, Rita realized that she is no longer, when she was with them, she was actual property, like a Nissan Altima. Rita realizes she no longer is a slave to them. The mere fact that Serena has to play these manipulative games, it further tells Rita that she really is free. She can choose whichever way she wants to. She can choose to take Serena's side, the truth, or Fred's side. So I think this helped her realize that I have reached the promised land. I am free, and I no longer have to be bound to this bullshit. Now, Rita been looking like she been having trouble with transitioning, which would be totally normal. Someone who was enslaved, she still wears her hair back in that ponytail. I think she wore it down one time, but for the most part, it's back in that ponytail. She's very reserved, which I think that's just her natural spirit. She's meek and reserved. And she kind of still dresses like a Martha. Child, Rita had to go down there and see Fred. Miss Mamason took her hair out that ponytail. She let it down with a part in the middle. Fred comes out and he said, oh my God, Rita, I hardly recognize you. He asks Rita, did she find her family? And Rita said, with respect, sir, I'd rather not say. Fred says, well, it's nice to see a friendly face. Rita said, we were never friends. And Fred, he doesn't know nothing about manipulation. Well, I shouldn't say that, but he don't have the art of manipulation down pat like Serena. And he said, well, no, we weren't. So what brings you here today? Rita passes him an envelope. She says to him, you deal with your family because it's no longer my job. And I thank God for that every day. Girl, that was never your job. A job you get paid for. Those people made you do that for free. Fred says to her, I never was cruel to you. And Rita says to him, I'll pray for your son. So Fred is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Inside the envelope was the sonogram. I liked how this played out because at first I wanted Rita to have that energy that she had for Fred for Serena. But I think that her and Serena will bump heads again in the courtroom, I hope. And the fact that she told Fred when she knew that Serena didn't want Fred to know, that was a one-up. And I like that. Later on in the episode, we see Rita enjoying some takeout, some sushi, and a Coke. And she probably haven't had that in forever. And I think this is just telling us that she's getting on with a normal life. Just, it's one day at a time. Let me tell you something. If I was Rita, I probably wouldn't be able to make homemade bread ever in my life, ever again. And if I was Rita, I probably would stay far, far away from anything earth-toned. Anything of the brown, greenish, earth-tone colors. No, ma'am. No more. Okay, back to the refrigerated cargo. June and Janine is still riding, child. Janine keeps falling asleep and June wants her to wake up. She said, you shouldn't be sleeping while it's cold because you can catch hypothermia. And Janine is like, no, you shouldn't sleep with a concussion. So June is like, no, it's both. Janine gets up irritated and she's like, I hate it here. I hate it. June says, I do too, but we just have to keep going. When we get to this place, we'll meet up with the Mayday connection. Janine asks June, do you have some secret brilliant plan or something? You can't keep feeding me lies and bullshit and expect me to be okay with it. You don't really know where we're going. You don't really know if we're going to be okay. June is in denial, and she's like, no, I don't do that. And I'm the one that's keeping us alive. Then goes on to say that Alma and Brianna was the nicest, and that's why God chose to take them and not us. She tells June, well, at least not you. Janine tells June that, when we was at the barn, Alma was the one who said we have to wait for June. She loved you. All of us loved you. Like, really loved you. Real love. And June said, I understand that. And Janine asks, like, did you tell the eyes where we were? June tells Jean the Hannah situation, that they were going to harm Hannah. And Janine asks June, did you see Hannah? And June said, yes, I seen her. And they were going to harm her. And if it was you, you would have did the same thing. Let me tell you something. A mother will choose her child each and every time. That's just a mother's love. And regardless of what I probably would have done, what Janine would have probably done, what you would have probably done, we never know until we're faced with that decision. Janine said, you don't know what I would have had done. I probably would have did something smarter, something better. So June is like what, Janine? Something stupid and dangerous, and then I would have had to save your ass? Janine tells June, hold up, bitch. This is stupid and dangerous. We're on a refrigerator headed to the front lines of a war zone. I wouldn't have told them where we were. You're the reason why they're dead. It's all your fault. June is having her Aunt Lydia moment. June says to Janine, I should have left your ass a long time ago. This frustration between both ladies is just, both of them are tired, hungry. They're on the run. Neither one of them know what's ahead of them. When you're a leader, such as June, your crew expect for you to know, for you to be the one to take them to freedom. However, June didn't make any of these women follow her. Situations as such, I think a person always have to ask, what part do I play in this situation right now? And Janine has to realize that June isn't perfect. That June does not know. How would she know? She was the same as you. Same situation. Handmaid. She wasn't out here. Everything that she knew up until now, she did share with you guys. Everyone that was with this crew came on their own free will. And these are the things that you have to endure if you're off the freedom in a land that want to keep you enslaved. Okay, so now we get a backstory on Janine. Janine is a single parent working at Denny's. She finds out she's pregnant with another child. So she's like, hell no, I cannot do this. I already have one. The one job that I do have is not enough to support me and him both. So I definitely can't afford another child. And she makes a decision to go down to an abortion clinic. Janine gets herself all checked in. So the counselor, she comes out to Janine and she tells Janine that before the procedure takes place, that she needs to just have a talk with Janine to make sure this is the right decision that she would like to make. Janine like to make. They gets in the back and the counselor is doing way too much. She's out of line. She's asking Janine about the baby's father. And even though he's acting one way now, they do change. But it was one thing that she says to Janine, and I kind of agree. She tells Janine that you're used to people underestimating you. Janine is like, oh, hell no. Let me go get a second opinion. So this lands her in a real abortion clinic. The doctor comes in and she asks Janine, did she speak with the nurse to review all of her options? And Janine goes on to say, yes, I did. And I understand my options and I know that I have the choice to keep this kid, but yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. And the doctor cuts her off. She said, hold up. Do you want to be pregnant right now? And Janine said, no. She said, well, you comfortable with the decision that you made? And Janine said, yes. She said, well, the rest is none of my business. The doctor goes on to say, by law, I am obligated to tell you that, what abortion leads to, as far as increase in breast cancer, infertility, things of that sort. And she said, also gave her personal opinion. She said, and this is not by law, but I call all of that a bunch of bullshit. Janine says, wow, the other abortion clinic made it seem like something horrible was going to happen. So the doctor explained to her, yeah, that's what their MO is. You know, they're set up to try to persuade women to change their mind. Janine is very puppet-like. Even before Gilead, for instance, when she was at the fake abortion clinic, you can kind of see that the counselor was trying to change her mind, Janine's mind, and it was actually kind of working. Janine came in there, she made her decision, she went over everything that she has going on in her life, and still for that moment, she came in there as an adult on her own free will, and she made the decision to terminate her pregnancy. And just for a second, in my opinion, I think Janine, that lady almost had Janine about to change her mind. Like, yes, I can do this. Like the lady told in the fake abortion clinic, that lady, she told Janine that you are used to people underestimating you. This is what causes Janine not to make her own decisions and conform to whatever situation that's going on at that moment. She's depending on June to know everything, when simply put, that Janine just has to look within herself. Whether Janine makes a decision to follow June or not, she needs to take accountability for herself. Janine can be real childish. It's time for her to grow up. All right, back to the train, refrigerator, cargo. June and Janine, they're hearing gunfires. June is like, yes, let's get out. Come on. So Janine like, hell no, bitch, they is shooting. June said, yes, if they're shooting at the soldiers, then they're not for Gilead. That's where we need to be. June gets Janine to help her get up top of the roof. Armed lady asked June, who the fuck are you? And so June said, we're not armed, we're not dangerous. So the woman is like, we. And so Janine comes out and Janine is like, hi. Armed lady calls over Steven, and Steven is surprised, which the armed lady is too. I guess that they're seeing 2 handmaids in their city. Armed lady is like, look, they are targets. Thinks that someone will be coming looking for Janine and June, and it'll make it bad for them. June lets her know, like, look, we gotten this far without anyone finding us. You can trust us. So Steven is like, and I'm supposed to believe that? It seemed like his whole crew is like, nah, fuck that, fam. Drop that bullshit. We don't need it. June says to him, look, we'll do anything that you say. We need you. Okay, so he's like, all right, come on, pack them inside the truck. And they go on over to the safe spot, which is their home. And it looks like a abandoned warehouse or something. Now we all are in Steven's office, and Steven is a dick. He's like, actual sex slaves in America. I can't believe it. Janine is so weak, she's about to fall down. She can't even stand up. June said, she needs some food. And Stephen said, this isn't a charity. Everything that we got off that chain is to last us for a couple of weeks. And June had to let him know, motherfucker, we're not asking for charity. We're of value. We can work for our stay. So Stephen is like, all right, Teresa's going to get y'all some food and some clothes. Both ladies thanked him, and as they're walking out, he's like, which one of you guys are going to stay? I don't care which one of you stay. And June said, well, we're not talking about that type of payment. And he tells June, well, that's all you got. So Mother June felt like she had to be the one to stay behind. I don't know why she felt that way, like she has to be the one to save the day. Anyhow, June gets to it, and she's shaking, she's mentally, physically exhausted. The nerve of this motherfucker. He recognized that they were sex slaves, and here he is trying to put them in a position for them to use what they got to get what they want. And he's real disgusting for this. Anyhow, he tells June, look, I'm not going to force you to do this. And June is like, you know what? Yeah, I can't do this. And as she's leaving, she said, do you know about Mayday? And he's like, huh? So it's kind of a disappointment that, June keeps going. She don't know where she's going or where she's headed. She's just moving through this. And it's like discouraging when you just think, your gut tell you one thing, but when you get there, it's a whole nother. And then, okay, these people aren't of Gilead, but they're just as disgusting. I wouldn't say just as disgusting, but it's no hope for her. She feels like at this moment, no, it's no compassion. Everyone is out for their self. Nobody cares about the kids and the sex slave in Gilead. They're just out for herself. Dog eat dog, rat race around there. So Janine was downstairs looking through the bin. She got all changed up out of that fucking red ass cloak. And June meets her down there and she tells Janine, grab your stuff, we gotta go. We just gotta go. So Janine already can read that, okay, things didn't go right upstairs. Says to June, look, June, just before we leave, change your clothes, okay? So June like, all right, okay. Now June is exhausted. She's sitting there with a look of defeat on her face, not knowing where to go and who to look for. She's just sitting there in a daze, and Janine comes up and she passed her a piece of bread and she said, we can stay. To June, it wasn't that bad, and he likes my eye patch. June is looking like she never gave it a thought that Janine would be the one to save the day for both of them, And that's where the story ends, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.